This whole LGBTQ bill, anti-LGBTQ plus bill, the NDC position is just nauseating. They are sitting here scrambling for opportunity to blame government, finding or seeking every single opportunity to make things look gloomy in this country. And so anything that doesn't look like an issue, the NDC will make an issue out of it. The CDD position, an independent CSO, reputed in this country as independent-minded. I think Professor H.C. Prempe's explanation should have ended the matter. And the NDC know about this. But somehow, they are straddling along somewhat boldly, and I would say vainly, forward as if there is something there to be had. There's nothing there in this argument about LGBTQ plus, and somebody is for it, somebody won't sign it, and therefore the person is supporting or promoting gay and associated behavior in Ghana. There is nothing there. The NDC should quit this matter already. Because on principle of constitutional law, or our constitution frowns on this matter. The idea that a private member's bill will raise costs on the public purse is completely out of line. So in that regard, this conversation is moot to begin with, my brother. But then yet they are carrying on just because they don't have any issue to talk about. They're just seeking to make issue out of nothing. So my brother Ejudi says, oh, President Akufo-Addo has missed a glorious opportunity to sign the bill or to make history or whatever he's seeking to say. President Akufo-Addo rather demonstrated his sensitivities to the law to say that because there are concerns in the courts about this particular bill, he will not move forward to sign it up until that determination is made. And Samson, you helped him, and I know he knows, because he's a very good lawyer, he knows, but then he's seeking for his political purposes to conceal that knowledge. The president signed, LG says, the president signed the e-levy, even though there was a case in court. Samson, if you put the two laws on a pedestal, they won't stand. One weighs heavier than the other. The consideration to do with, revenue for a budget that Parliament has passed, which is in motion being implemented, already having been delayed for 5-6 months. That bill having been passed should wait for a court issue to be determined. Running the economy, having approved the budget as it was in 2022, is almost like flying an airplane. You are in motion. Decisions you make have consequences. So you have to continue your motion. So it doesn't arise in terms of comparing that to the LGBTQ bill that the president, in realizing that there are concerns about it. Beyond the economic urgency, on which basis you can compare this LGBTQ to the e-levy. Beyond that, Samson, the LGBTQ law that have been passed carries weight in terms of our morals and our culture and the determination we are making in our democracy to grant people space for freedom. It has consequences for people's rights. So if you are a president seeking to sign that bill, you must be clear in your mind that every consideration for every possible right of people have been considered. And you sign that only upon that satisfaction. So you don't do that arbitrarily. You don't do that because LBG is standing in the fence to criticize you, so you sign it. You don't do that on the basis that former President Mahama, who I can tell you immediately will flip-flop on the position that I support it, will criticize you for it. You sign it because you have done due diligence, you have weighted all the consideration and seen that ultimately this will promote social good, will advance the cohesion of our society, then you sign it. So there is no hurry at all. You give it every time, every consideration.
You don't think the same argument
should
go for the the bill, the one we just referred to, what's it again? The what?
Is it the witchcraft one?
No, the one you just, the e-levy bill, that didn't have as much support. The e-levy bill that you could say that perhaps if you had put the question to Ghanaians, you may have had not up to 30% of them support it.
Well, you see, so the e-levy, and then in fact, this is characteristic of all tax policies. There isn't a unanimous position on any tax at all. Okay? It is almost like a medicine. You know, it's for your good, but you don't like it. It has to be administered to you. Okay? So that is a separate conversation. Really is at the time, if you didn't take that medicine, you're exposed to death or something more catastrophic. So you take it, even though you are crying, your parents must administer it. So that's that. This law, we have all the time in the world to look at it properly, especially because, Samson, there are current laws on the book that check the behavior, that limit the behavior, that control the behavior. The additional injections or the additional ideas we want to preemptively add to it, notwithstanding, it's not urgent. By the way, in the discussions that we have had just around the table shows that some aspect of this bill offends, and it offends the Constitution and is discriminatory. So that when you are trying to regulate any sexual intercourse that penetrates, excuse my usage, penetrates the anus, then that between a gay is illegal, but between a heterosexual is okay. You can't pass a law like that. It's a double standard.
That appears to be a mistake in that lawmaking, right?
Well,
you don't agree
that
you make this
you can't
law,
do that.
And the things that you prohibit among same sex,
you allow
among heterosexual persons.
Where is that allowance? Where is that allowance?
That's what this
is. The law prescribes a particular act without bond. Okay. So if you are flipping the coin to the other side, that it is possible that man, woman can do these things. Yeah. That's purely speculative.
It's not speculative.
No, hold on.
They have made amendments to is it the section 12 of it or so? That literally leaves the law at the state that is being canvassed now. And Professor...
No. That is what I'm saying that's what I'm saying, that if a man and a woman are in their bedroom, whatever they do, that's their own matter.
It appears...
How do you get to even know that this is the act being performed?
It appears that revision was informed by the question of the use of sex toys. And they didn't think about it within same sex.
But no, I mean, by the way, these are not constitutional. Okay. When you say something is constitutional infringement or violation, I mean, we are talking about heavier matters.
No, but I see you take it as a trivial matter, but it's heavy matter, right?
How?
Or for a law to be that discriminatory, that for me you cannot. I mean, wait till you become the president, then you can be signing this discriminatory law. But Akufo-Addo will not
proceed and conclude on your submission.
A very important point to be made is on the finance ministry note, the staff note that was supposed, to be brought for advice and guidance for the minister in their deliberation. Edwiji says, that it signifies some kind of hypocrisy or kowtowing to...
They are speaking about the immediate impact on the implementation of the 2024 budget.
Exactly.
If the law is passed.
Exactly. And then you know that the government has responsibility to implement the law as passed. I mean, the fiscal policy and the economic planning act of the government of 2024. But you see, in that note, there is a reference Edwiji made that the IMF consideration or the agreement we have with them...
The staff level agreement.
Yes. Even the entire agreement has no implication, or this LGBT law...
It's not a condition.
It's not a condition and therefore has no implication for that agreement. I agree. But if you read the note, they accepted that proposition, but saying that even though the LGBTQ is not a condition for the IMF agreement, it has implication because there are associated funding from the World Bank that must come as a basis to ensure that the implementation goes smoothly. And therefore, if the World Bank has indicated that they will not continue in advancing that 3.8 billion to us on the basis of signing that law, then it will have implication for the success of the deal. So it is not directly the IMF deal that is contingent, or the law is not contingent on that, deal. But it's the World Bank deal.
The World Bank had also issued
that is the advice.
Yes, the World Bank has not said what you said. The World Bank says it will express its view if the bill becomes law.
No. They have issued, hold on. They have issued a different thing and said their working relationship with Ghana is one that is ongoing. And that too, they have their own internal policies on these matters. That's completely different from
I don't want to wait to find out late in the day what their internal processes are and which implication will have for Ghana's economy. But if you are managing this country, obviously, Samson and my brother, they are sitting in opposition, so they are not preoccupied by the daily hurts of Ghanaians, and so therefore the urgency. The urgency.
What more than destroying the economy?
Please. The urgency and the importance that you attach to state decision making is not something that you are preoccupied with. So
no, but you've already destroyed the economy.
Oh, please come on. You can sit on the fence freely, just accusing, just like how you were sitting on the fence blaming the blaster players that why can't they score, why are they allowing people to score? But when they put you in there, they will score us Ghana about 2,000 goals if you are playing. But the point I am making to you is that the decision or that note was to provide guidance in giving context to what is possibly at stake. And so it is not by any stretch of the imagination more or less a stop to the ministry
and
I
asked the question in my introduction. Is it false, scaremongering or alarm that the Ministry of Finance raised in that? Because as we know it, we have not less than 60 countries that have criminalized homosexual practices or LGBTQ plus activities or have similar laws to that effect. And all these jurisdictions continue to work with these multilateral institutions. Well, I admit that some of them are not in the circumstances economically that we find ourselves. So why is Ghana so jittery about that?
Samson, in political advisement, you would have to spell out all the possible outcomes for your principal for a decision. So the staff at the finance ministry, they have a responsibility to show all the likely impact, all the likely outcomes of that decision, so the principal takes a decision. So that document is by no means a decision.
Okay.
It is providing the facts, the context within which you are making the decision for the minister to advise cabinet and therefore president to make a decision on the matter if it becomes necessary for discussion. So it's a preparatory document. It's not a document that is conclusive and has not resulted in any decision.
What does it change if the Supreme Court okays this bill?
Well, then if
will the argument change?
No, the argument will not change. Why? Because one, you yourself had indicated President Akufo-Addo's unequivocal position saying that same-sex marriage and associated practices are not something he will condone. Number two, the party he belongs to, the party he led once before, that party is a conservative party that is not, by its nature, aligned with such practices.
So how do you reconcile your position with that?
Three, in Parliament, as flawed as it is, our members voted in concert with the majority to pass with the minority to pass the bill. So there is an express position of the president, his party, and his parliamentary party that this is not an act we condone. Now, in the context of democracy, you know that public policy or reforms are subject to public opinion. And so therefore, if it becomes necessary, which was the point the president made and Eduji was appearing to suggest that he was changing his position. If public position, if Ghanaians in their consensus thinks that this is the way to go, addressing all the infringements and the offenses in terms of the law in the bill, the president will have no choice but to sign it.
But why?
But it is important to ensure, some say, before you get to that point of signing or not signing, to ensure that the bill is kosher.
Why do you leave such an important decision to a Supreme Court bench of 5 or less or 9 when we know as it stands now that the majority of Ghanaians overwhelmingly endorse it?
The president is setting them up for public ridicule.
You know, see, if you make that argument to be most unfortunate, because in the construct of our government, there are equal branches. So the power of the Supreme Court is not subservient to that of the executive. Same way, the legislature is not subservient. So there are 3 equal important organs of the state. So therefore, having the Supreme Court have a say on the matter is not, okay, it's not inferior to what decision the president will make.